In a crowded market, among the many faces and countless stories, one Clothier's life was about to change forever, in a way he could never have imagined. The Clothiers, and there was a wise shopkeeper in the next shop standing behind the counter. The wise shopkeeper, with a knowing look, says the words that would soon haunt the Clothiers. Shopkeeper said, "Do it and be afraid. Don't do it and be afraid." Clothier said to the shopkeeper, "Why do you always say that? It makes no sense. Fear is something we avoid, not something we live with." The Clothiers could never understand the old man's words, but soon those words would echo in his mind, in the darkest way possible. A tall, well-dressed man enters the shop of the Clothier, followed closely by a servant carrying a child on his shoulder. Rich man said, "I need fine clothes. A lot of it. Pack it up." The servant stands still, holding the child as the Clothier's hurriedly wraps the expensive cloth. The Clothier's nervous hands tremble as he counts the total. Clothier said, "It'll be 1,000 rupees, sir." Rich man glancing sharply at the Clothiers, "I'll bring the money from home. My servant and child will wait here." The Clothiers, eager to please, didn't sense the danger lurking behind those cold eyes. And so, the man left, leaving behind what seemed like a sleeping child and the beginning of a nightmare. Time passes. The servant shifts uncomfortably, then gently lays the child down on a bench and covers him with a cloth. Servant said, "I'll go fetch some water. Stay here." The Clothier's watches as the servant walks away, his back disappearing into the crowded market. After few hours passed, but the servant did not came back. Clothier whispering to himself, looking around nervously, "Why haven't they come back?" He then approaches the child, hesitating before pulling back the cloth. The Clothier's heart stopped. Something was horribly wrong. The child wasn't sleeping, he was dead. The Clothier stumbles backward, knocking over items from the counter. His hands were shaking, his eyes darting around as he realizes the gravity of the situation. The market is almost empty now. Clothier, "No, no, no, this can't be happening. What do I do?" Fear wrapped its cold fingers around the Clothier's heart. The rich man had left him, alone, with a dead child. Time ticked by, and the weight of what had happened began to crush him. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps. The rich man and the servant return. The rich man's eyes fall on the child. His face twists in anger, suspicion thick in the air. Rich man said to the Clothier, "What have you done to my child?" You've killed my boy." Clothier said, "No, I didn't touch him. He was already dead. I swear, I swear." Rich man, "You're lying. You strangled him. Look at him." The Clothier's world is collapsing. Tears fill his eyes, his words barely audible as he tries to explain. But the rich man was not ready to listen. Fear turned into desperation. The Clothiers, on the verge of losing everything, begged for mercy from him. But rich man was not ready to forgive him for the crime he committed. After pleading and begging, the rich man then said, "Okay, if you can pay me a certain amount, then I can forgive you and will not file a case to police." The Clothier's trembling hands over a bag of money, his last hope slipping away with it. The rich man takes it, sneering, before turning to leave with the servant. Rich man said to the Clothier, 1,000 rupees for your crime." The Clothier's watches them disappear into the darkness, his heart pounding, fear still lingering in the air. The shopkeeper in the neighbor, having watched everything unfold from a distance, approaches the Clothiers. Shopkeeper repeated his words again, "Do it and be afraid. Don't do it and be afraid." The Clothiers sits alone, staring blankly at the spot where the child had lain. Clothier, "I understand now. You're always afraid of something. But trusting in God is the only way to escape it." And just like that, the Clothiers learned a truth far deeper than he ever could have imagined. Fear is everywhere, in every choice, in every moment. But where we place our trust, that is what saves us. Do it and be afraid. Don't do it and be afraid, but trust in the one who controls it all. If this story left you thinking, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe for more stories that challenge the way you see the world.